Hey guys, creator mom, Sheena here. I'm in a video making mood today and I want to read this story here um, that Neville Goddard tells about this woman. Here we go. So it says here, okay, and this is from Tim Grimes' book again. It's called Manifestation Through Relaxation, A Guide to Getting More by Giving In. That's the name of the book because I want to give him credit to what I'm reading. Tim Grimes, author, with Neville Goddard. Okay, here we go. Here's an example of a practical application of this philosophy. A year ago, oh shoot, I guess I should read the paragraph beforehand. It says, this inner spiritual journey should never be without direction. When you take the inner road, it's to do what you did mentally before you started. You go for the prize you've already seen and accepted. Here's an example of a practical application of this philosophy. A year ago, a blind woman living in San Francisco found herself confronted with a transportation problem. A rerouting of buses forced her to make 3 transfers between her home and her office. This lengthened her trip from 15 minutes to 2 hours and 15 minutes. She thought seriously about this problem and came to the decision that a car was the solution. She knew that she couldn't drive a car, but felt that she could be driven in one. Putting this theory to the test, she said to herself, I'll sit here and imagine that I'm being driven to my office. Sitting in her living room, she began to imagine herself seated in a car. She felt the rhythm of the motor. She imagined that she smelled the odor of gasoline. She felt the motion of the car, touched the sleeve of the driver, and felt that the driver was a man. She felt the car stop and, turning to her companion, said, Thank you very much, sir. To which he replied, The pleasure is all mine. Then she stepped from the car and heard the door snap shut as she closed it. On 2 successive days, the blind woman took her imaginary ride, giving it all the joy and sensory vividness of reality. A few hours after her second imaginary ride, a friend told her of a story in the evening paper. It was a story of a man who was interested in the blind. The blind woman phoned him and stated her problem. The very next day on his way home, the man stopped in at a bar. While there, had the urge to tell the story of the blind woman to his friend, the proprietor. A total stranger, on hearing the story, volunteered to drive the blind woman home every day. The man who told the story then said, If you take her home, I'll take her to work. This was over a year ago, and since that day, this blind woman has been driven to and from her office by these 2 gentlemen. Now, instead of spending 2 hours and 15 minutes on 3 buses, she's at her office in less than 15 minutes. And on the first ride to her office, she turned to her good Samaritan and said, Thank you very much, sir. And he replied, The pleasure is all mine. Inner action orders all things according to the nature of itself. There are numerous success stories like that of the blind woman I could relate to you, but the underlying reason for success is always the same. There are these 2 outlooks on the world possessed by every one of us. I don't care who you are, every child born, regardless of race, nation, or creed, possesses 2 distinct outlooks on the world. You're either the natural person who receives not the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness unto him, or you are the spiritual person who perceives things outside of the limitations of your own senses, because all things are now realities in a dimensionally larger spiritual world. All right, everyone, take care.